Excellent. Excellent. Welcome. Shawn Benson here. Wing Chun Talk, episode number 4. Coming to you solo today. Thought I'd still drop in, give you some information, give you a rundown of my story. I've done this a few times and had a couple different people on. Hopefully, you've checked out the last episodes. Hopefully, they've brought some value to you. If you haven't, definitely check them out. Got some some good information from a couple different resources, people who've trained for a long time, and people who just starting out. So today, I thought I would chat a little bit about my story. So I've interviewed, like I said, a few other people. I'll still keep doing that. Guest today again fell through, so trying a few different things out. That light above me, that was bugging me. So I'm trying the natural light, so hopefully I'm not glowing. So anyway, so that's different. Like I said, solo today. Hopefully you enjoy. So to get right into it, I'll kind of give you a rundown of my story. I have been training Wing Chun since early 2000s. And, I trained for probably about 5 years. So I was getting close to the darker colors. Our club uses belt system, so I was coming up to brown. So kind of getting a good information or good understanding, I would say, of the system. Hadn't made it to the third form, but Selam Tau, Chum Q, sticky hands, multiple partner stuff, kind of some, I think other people call it Gorsal, like problem solving type stuff. And I was young. I was probably kind of around my early 20s, I'd say. So I don't know if I had a whole lot of weight on me. Wasn't fully developed. I mean, maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. Anyways, trained that for almost about 4 or 5 years and got fairly comfortable. Really enjoyed the club I was at. Met lots of people. Again, it was part of the U of A. U of A Kung Fu Club is how it started. Props to those guys. My Sifu, Edward Ning. Awesome. I've been training with him since the beginning, since I started. What are we now? 2020. I had a gap where I didn't train. I'll tell you a little bit about that. And came back and have trained with them since. So now it's the Alberta School of Kung Fu. Used to be part of the U of A. So that's when I started. Really great little social club there. Met lots of good people. But like I said, I was young. I was partying. Going out drinking. So I was training probably about 3 nights a week, which I think is a great amount of training. If you can get more, they'd have occasionally some dummy classes because he didn't have an actual studio. So he'd host them at a different location, the dummy class, and you'd do that separate out of class. So that would be, if you could make it to 3 classes, and then that one would be a 4th class. So that kind of worked out really well. 3 or 4 times a week training. That's awesome. So I was doing that, but partying in those days. So a few dummy classes, I'd be probably a little bit too hungover. I don't think I'm going to make it today. Just not feeling it. So really wasn't a martial artist back then. Kind of didn't have the mentality of training and working on the art in my body and things like that. I was, young, socializing. And at the time, it was great. So after, about 4 or 5 years there, decided to do some traveling. So I stopped going to Kung Fu, took about almost a year off from work, period. Did some traveling. I also checked out a couple clubs, 1 or 2, I think, really in Australia. Just wanted to kind of drop in, see what other clubs were doing. Would have liked to have trained more, but I kind of went for more of a holiday travel experience. I wasn't looking at doing kung fu at the time. Hindsight, probably would have been awesome to really kind of do some club hopping, in the sense of checking out some different martial arts clubs or Wing Chun specific clubs. That would be pretty cool, if I could do that. Um, you know, in the near future, that would be sweet. Uh, yeah, maybe down the road here. So did some traveling, checked out that club. When I got back from traveling, went to Australia, New Zealand, Japan, spent a little bit of time in Thailand, did a little bit of Muay Thai there too. But like I said, it was mainly just a holiday. So coming back, I ended up, I ended up not going right back to class. I ended up moving a little ways away from the club. I was pretty close previously, so it was a hop, skip, and took no time at all to get there. So that's the benefit of living close by, right? It doesn't take a whole lot of drive time to get to where you're going. So I lived a little ways away, and I worked a ways away, and it would have been this big long triangle of driving, and I couldn't wrap my head around it at the time. Then I ended up, getting married, owning a condo, so I had some bills. My wife had always been into yoga, and that's her thing: yoga, working out, running, things like that. So we started dating, and that was kind of our thing. We would go to yoga together, and I enjoyed it at the beginning, for a little while there, kind of stretching and working, and then she showed me this new style, and I'd be doing these poses, and all I could think about was Wing Chun. So at that point, I knew I needed to go back to class. Um, I had put it off, but realizing when you're doing something specific and your brain is somewhere else, that's your brain telling you that's what you should be doing, right? So I took the steps, checked out the club again, checked the drive time. Pretty much, I think I did just, I don't even remember if I did another check in, but I joined the club. And because I had gone a little ways without training, they asked if I had my belts. And it's funny, I just moved to a new house, and I was like, what am I going to do with all my belts? What am I going to do? And I don't want to tell you what I did with them, but I ended up, I think I donated them. So kicking myself. So I come back to the club, have to start from the beginning, which is fair. But I knew some of the beginner stuff, which was the blocks, right? Pak Sao, Tan Sao, Fuk Sao, Jump Sao. All the hand motions were pretty solid in my memory, ingrained, because it's a lot of repetition, right? 5 years at anything, you kind of get back on. So I kind of slid through some of the early stages, as in, learning the basic hand movements, blocks, Tanda, Pakta. It wasn't until we started doing some double-handed sticky hands with partners, and maybe some entry-level, I guess, problem-solving, Gorsao, I think is what other clubs call it, where you're kind of doing some attack and defending in sticky hands, okay? Or sticky hands, I guess, with a free flow sticky hands. That's when I ended up kind of struggling. I had lost the sensitivity, the reflexes. That's where I needed to put in the time and the energy to really work on that. And it's funny. I was chatting. There's a post. I posted about it in Wing Chun Talk group there on Facebook. I posted a couple things there. Basically having a frustrating time with my training journey, and that was it. I thought I was better. I thought I should be better than I was, and I kind of got to this point where I was annoyed with myself that I wasn't performing up to what I thought I could. Whether this was the case, um, it happened. So I was gone. Went, yeah, had a frustrating section that was really quite difficult to kind of come through. Ended up looking to a senior student who he ended up going to Hong Kong. Did some training over in Hong Kong, which I think would be amazing. Like I said, right now COVID's happening, so who knows what the new training is going to look like in the near future. But if I could go places and train, I'd like to go to Hong Kong. If that's um, if that's something that's able to be done in the near future, I'll keep you posted on that. But anyways, he came back from Hong Kong, super skilled because he dedicated. I think he spent 2 years over there. So we got together, and he just recommended me a couple books, and the Wing Chun Compendium. That was one. Lent it to me, and basically just kind of gives you a really realistic kind of expectation on enjoying your training. Right when we get a little bit older, um, just we should be doing it for a couple reasons: for health benefits, for the training, the mental sharpness, self-defense, whatever your reasons. But you should also be going and enjoying it. So that's kind of one of my recommendations um, to people who get a little stagnant or frustrated with their training. Do your best to enjoy that session, enjoy whatever you did. Try to figure out what you learned that session, what you can take away, and you got to get together with people who like the same thing as you do and train together. So yeah, that's a recommendation for new, old, experienced, brand new rookies to Wing Chun. Enjoy the training. Okay, this camera is a little bit backwards. For those of you that are watching, I'm trying to fix my hair, and it's backwards. So, anyways, my COVID hair should come to an end after another week. Next week I have it scheduled. So, there's a little tangent for you guys. It's not looking too bad, but anyways, back to Wing Chun. So enjoy your training. So after I went through that little hurdle, talking to the senior student, kind of changed that mindset in my mind about just really enjoying the time together with other people. Like I said, like-minded people doing the same thing you're doing, right? And so, yeah, like I said, went back and have been training there since. Yeah, pretty keen on Wing Chun, hence why I'm doing Wing Chun talk here. Yeah. So, anyways, next thing I want to talk about is why Wing Chun. I'll kind of talk about things that I would ask, guests sitting with me. The other thing would be why I started in Wing Chun, or why I continued to. So, why I started it initially was some friends of mine down in Calgary, basically best friends. I've been with friends with my whole life. They did it in Calgary, and I saw one of their gradings, and I was blown away. I was just like, "Oh my goodness, I need to do this. This looks amazing. Tell me where I can do this. Hook me up, basically." So I ended up getting a recommendation from their Sifu, a couple clubs here in the city that did Wing Chun. And the one I checked out initially is the one I joined and have been with my entire training years. So why I stick with it though is, like I said, initially, the idea is that Wing Chun is geared for smaller framed people. Traditionally, or the tradition is that it was developed by a woman. Um, so when I first started, like I said, I wasn't that muscular. I wasn't that big. My frame wasn't fully developed. I didn't have a whole lot of muscle. And that kind of kept me engaged in the art that it's geared for us kind of smaller framed people. Whether you believe that or not, I mean, it's great for all sizes, right? The other thing that drew me was flexibility. My flexibility is garbage. I can barely kick very high, um, and so it's great that most of the kicks are feet with feet, hands with hands. I don't have to be kicking somebody in the head because that just won't work for my body type. So I wouldn't do it. Maybe I developed the flexibility, but it's great because my flexibility isn't there. Um, what made me stick with Wing Chun? So, like I said, I took that break there, and it was on the back of my mind. I didn't complete something. I got to a dark belt, but I didn't get a black belt, and that was kind of a goal. Whether people strive for that attainment or the achievement, whether that means something to you or not, it meant something to me. So I felt kind of incomplete. I reached pretty close, but didn't quite complete that journey. So it kind of was just sitting in the back of my mind, kind of like, you didn't finish this, you didn't get this done. So I ended up just kind of get that lit the fire really to kind of rejoin, and that lit the fire to keep going. And when I hit that struggle again, it kind of kept me going. Enjoyed my training, but also I have kind of an end goal. Now that I got my black belt, it's crazy. It's just like I kind of equate it to a journeyman. I'm a journeyman welder by trade, and I was instructing previous to COVID, teaching apprentices, and we kind of tell them too, you learn a lot in the first 3 years until you get your ticket, but once you get your journeyman, then you that really opens the door to the learning. And I found that to be true when I got my black belt. It was just one more step up the ladder, and then there's multiple steps above that, so just kind of opens the door to learning way more. So now I keep training. There's a great group of people that I train with, and I see I see the skill from my Sifu Edward Ning. I see the skill in the higher level guys. I see what the potential, right? So I see it. So I want to achieve it. So hence I just keep going, keep working, keep working, keep working. That's a couple of the reasons that I stick with Wing Chun. So, because it's just myself today, I probably won't go on too long. That's kind of my initial Wing Chun story, how I got started, how I, kind of encountered a bit of hurdle, what kept me going, what I wanted to attain, that the belt at first, but now it's just really to keep developing the skill. I want to become proficient. I want to excel at it. I want to be really good at it. That is kind of, I guess, the main reason. I was chatting with Lance Smith a couple episodes ago, and his reason is kind of similar. He figures it's like a little puzzle, which is interesting, and he kind of gets he wants to figure it out. Mine is I see the skill, and it's just like, I'm not quite there yet. I want to keep developing. I want to keep growing. I want to keep improving. So that kind of keeps me coming back. Um, what else? I keep looking down because I had a question list that I was going to kind of run off of. Um, one thing I wanted to mention too, I think it's been brought up in the Wing Chun Talk group a couple times on people developing maybe at different levels or developing at different speeds. Um, and I kind of wanted to touch on that a little bit. And just some people catch on a little bit quicker. Some people have more experience. Some people have been experienced in other martial arts, hence why they might catch on to something a little bit quicker. I know um, for me, my learning is I need to see, I need to, I need to be told, I need to see, and then I need to do. That's go back to my welding background. I'm an apprentice, right? So tell, show, do. That's kind of the learning model for apprentices. Basically, as a Wing Chun practitioner or learner or student, you're doing the same thing. Our Sifu Edward Ning, in our club, whoever your Sifu is, um, tell you what to do. Hopefully, they're showing you what to do, and then you do it. Now, to compound the learning is feedback. Like I said, when I was instructing welders, we'd tell them to go practice, but come out and show us what you're doing. So this is where some feedback comes in handy, and will totally enhance or compound that learning curve or whatever we want to call it. The other thing too is I know one big component that I struggle with is home training. I'll be the first to admit I'd love to train at home more. That's something I really need to work on is carving out that home practice. Some people are really good at that, and that will definitely speed up their development, right? If they're spending whatever 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever at home doing forms, doing basic hand techniques, working on the dummy, whatever the case is, this is going to drastically improve or drastically push their improvement up. Okay. My son plays the piano, just starting. He's 6 years old, plays the piano. And our goal, obviously, is to practice 10 minutes a day. And it's crazy how quick and how fast he speeds through some of those workbooks. Okay, so he's already on to he's already crushed one of the books. He's moved on to his second book now. So, and that's just, persistence home practice. He only has a lesson once a week. Imagine if he just only practiced once a week. So this is a lesson for myself. I'm not preaching to those of you who don't do home training. I'm basically trying to convince myself to really carve it out and make it happen. So that's one of my weaknesses. One something I need to work on. Yeah, if you have a home practice, definitely keep with it, stick with it. The results will come. And I guess one of the last things I want to talk about, I'll wrap this up real quick here, try to keep it under 30 minutes, is my recommendation to people who train Wing Chun. And I haven't really thought about it, just kind of spur of the moment. But something I would ask a guest to is, first of all, you got to start. If Wing Chun is something you want to do, so I'll talk specifically to beginners or someone who's trained in it previously, you need to start. Okay? As intermediate advanced, again, maybe my recommendation to you guys is enjoy the training. Enjoy it. Don't take it so seriously. If you could pick some people to help you out, or some juniors to you, pick one or two that you want to, spend a little bit of time with, focus on, give some attention to, in the sense of helping them develop. That might keep you more engaged, or enjoy enjoy the training. But yeah, my recommendation: start and enjoy. Enjoy the training. Enjoy that you get together. Enjoy that you're healthy and you're able to train, and you're training with people that love the same thing that you do. So, on that note, wrap up for today. Sorry again, I didn't have a guest. If you're interested, drop me a comment or email me, benson.shawn@gmail.com, or I'm on Facebook, Shawn Benson, or drop me a message here in the group if you're interested in sitting down, discussing a few things, tips and tricks. We can talk about all different things, struggles, journey, all that kind of thing. We just want to help everybody kind of level up and move up the ladder here, because once you're a beginner, then you're an intermediate. Once you're an intermediate, you kind of move up. Once you're an advanced, then where do you go? Do you become a teacher, or do you keep learning yourself? So hopefully you've enjoyed that for today. Thanks for being with me. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, like I said, the audio and the video was okay today. Just trying something a little bit different. And definitely give me a like if you've liked this. Talk soon. Bye now.